guys, Comic Boom here to review Avengers Infinity War. Guys, I gotta tell you, I just got back from Calgary Comic-Con, and while I was there on Friday night, I managed to sneak in a matinee with a buddy of mine to check out Infinity War. We had excellent seats. It was a fantastic time, and it was a really great movie. There's so much to say. This is going to be the Comic Boom review. This definitely has spoilers, and I'm just going to cut right to it. I have my top 10 moments of this movie. It's well worth going to. All the hype, it was worth it. By the sounds of things, it's eaten up the box office like crazy. It's like whatever it is, 258 million or something. Better than a Force Awakens. Wow, this is just incredible. You know, it was funny because before I went into this movie, I had heard that there were people had seen it. Other people had been walking out of the theater crying, and then some were upset, and they were shell shocked. And I'm thinking, good Lord, what is this movie going to be like? I got to check this out. So there's a lot of excitement, and oh man, here it is. This movie is an adrenaline rush from beginning to end. You almost don't get any break in the action, and when you do, it's just for a few moments to catch your breath, where they have some moments of humor and moments of reflection or introspection on the part of the characters. And incredibly enough, the character that gets the most development is Thanos himself. Incredible. It's whoever says they can't mix CG with real life acting and pull it off, well, they got it. If you don't think they can, just go to this movie. Brolin, in the lead role as Thanos, pulls this off despite having a chin that looks like a scrotum, as Star-Lord calls him to his face. He still pulls this off. Thanos is the best developed, or Josh Brolin, that's the actor. He pulls it off amazingly well. Thanos is so well developed. You know, guys, in Infinity Gauntlet, the motivation that Thanos had in the comic book series was that he wanted to wipe out half the universe in order to impress Lady Death, who he was in love with. Well, Thanos' motivation in this particular movie is he wants to wipe out half of the life in the universe simply because he thinks it's overcrowded, and on his home planet of Titan growing up, he discovered that too much overpopulation, lack of resources led to destruction and terror in the long run. And he figures it's much better off if he's sort of like a radical future galactic environmentalist. He wants to wipe out half the population of the galaxy. He actually thinks the universe is finite. It's one of my criticisms of Thanos here. He's aware that the universe is infinite, and yet he describes the universe as being finite, believing that the universe has finite resources and that it needs to be controlled and looked after. And that even includes life itself. Too much life's not a good thing to Thanos. So Thanos' motivation, he talks about it at the beginning, is that he wants to wipe out half the life in the universe, and then basically sit back and relax and smile. And well, look, spoilers. Let's go my top 10. I'll start at number 10 and go right down to number 1. Number 10 is the invasion of New York. Right off the bat, once we get Tony Stark meeting Doctor Strange for the first time, because Doctor Strange's inner sanctorium gets, well, let's just say that the Hulk pays a visit after the Hulk gets the crap beat out of him by Thanos, which is another one of my epic scenes, which I'll get to in a moment. And he's basically warning the Earth. He's saying, look guys, we got to prepare. Thanos is coming, and he's coming in spades, and he just beat the heck out of Thor. Banner thinks Thor is dead because Thanos beat the hell out of Thor. He beats the hell out of the Hulk. What he does with Loki, oh my god, unbelievable. The battle in New York City, though, where we were first introduced to the Black Order with Ebony Maw, Proxima Midnight. There's another crazy guy, I can't remember his name. And the battle between those three, the Black Order and Tony Stark and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange in the streets of New York, that was absolutely incredible. I got to give compliments to the battle sequences. Whoever choreographed this movie and worked in the special effects and the new armor, the iron suit for Spider-Man. We get to see that. Tony Stark has new armor in this movie, and it's incredible how it works, and he shows off so many different things that his new armor can do in battle. It's absolutely insane, but it's so fun to watch. I love this movie because of the cool fanboy moments that it had. And the fanboy moments were, it was riddled with fanboy moments. I'll be honest, I was so impressed by the cool fanboy moments. All those epic comic book scenes, how they choreograph scenes. You can imagine this playing out in a comic book. This was really excellent. So much so that the moments of sadness, because there was loss in this movie, there was death in this movie, I never cried. I never even shed a tear, which is a little surprising because I'm usually good for a couple tears in a movie that gets to me. But none of it was... Well, frankly, I know none of it's going to stick because of the nature of, the comic book Infinity Gauntlet, and I don't think any of these deaths are going to stick, but they're not going to last long. In other words, I think they're going to bring them back in the subsequent movie, but it really, they did nonetheless hit home, and some people in the theater seemed to be a little upset by it, but I thought it was just epic. I was so busy being impressed by previous scenes that when a sad scene came along, it never hit me as much as it probably could have, but I got to go see this. I want to go see this movie a third and fourth time. This is excellent. Number 9, when Iron Man meets Doctor Strange. I mentioned that. Number 8, I put when Banner in the Hulkbuster suit. Thanos beats the Hulk so badly that the Hulk is afraid to come out. Through the whole movie, Hulk is afraid to come out because Thanos beats him that badly. It's incredible. I don't know if it was maybe Garofalo, the actor there. Maybe he just wanted to have more lines in the movie. That's why they didn't make him Hulk out. Otherwise, he would just be CGI Hulk. But they put David Banner in a Hulkbuster suit, which was the same Hulkbuster suit that in the previous Avengers movie that Tony Stark used to subdue the Hulk. But that was a great scene. Throughout the entire movie, Banner in the Hulkbuster suit, fighting the enemies, fighting in Wakanda, in the invasion of Wakanda. Epic stuff. 7, Thanos gets the Soul Stone. Thanos spends the entire movie getting all the stones for his gauntlet, and when he tries to get the Soul Stone, it requires a sacrifice, and that sacrifice that he has to make is Gamora, and it's gut-wrenching, and it really gets to you, and we get to meet the Red Skull. You ever wonder what happened to the Red Skull at the end of one of the very first Marvel movies? Captain America, First Avenger, at the end, with a Red Skull disappears after he has that cosmic cube, and he gets sucked up at the end of the movie of Captain America, First Avenger. Well, the Red Skull makes an appearance, and he's actually the keeper of the Soul Stone, and that's his curse, to keep an eye on the Soul Stone until, of course, Thanos arrives. And in order to get the Soul Stone, you got to make a sacrifice of that which you love the most. And Thanos makes the ultimate sacrifice and it involves his daughter Gamora, who he has captured from the Guardians of the Galaxy. And oh my God, gut-wrenching scene, so well played out, so well acted. It really humanizes Thanos. Great stuff. There's a great scene on the planet of Nowhere, a Nowhere scene where we finally get some payoff in the relationship between Star-Lord and Gamora. They basically talk about Gamora tells Star-Lord that she loves him. Very touching scene. So even though a lot of the players, there were so many players, so many characters in this movie, not a lot of them got a lot of screen time, but the greatness of how this movie was made was that the screen time that they did get, the directors made the most of it. They made the most of the scenes, and while there could have been perhaps more character playoffs here and there, and more character moments, the fact remains is that there was still a lot of character moments that simply worked, and you could forgive them for some of the weaknesses and perhaps some of the character portrayals, if only because the action was so intense that the action itself almost acted as to make up for any shortfalls that some characterizations might have. Just very well executed movie, running from scene to scene to scene. There's been some people that have criticized the movie that have said that the scenes maybe got a little bit too convoluted, that it's so fast moving. I gotta tell you, I made the mistake of having a beer before I went into the movie. This movie's 2.5 hours long, and you don't want to have a drink. And I suggest that you just sort of sip your pop very slowly, because, you don't want to miss anything. And so I'm holding my bladder there for 2.5 hours, and I'm sure we all know what that's like. I should have known better going in, but you know how it is. It's Friday, I'm with buddies, I'm gonna have a beer before I see Infinity War. But It is what it is. Number 4 on my list, I put Thanos whoops the Hulk. I talked about that already. He kicks the Hulk's ass. That's a fantastic scene. Another great scene is the Scarlet Witch and the Vision. One of the relationships that played off very well in this movie was the relationship between Scarlet Witch and the Vision, and how the Vision, of course, has the Mind Stone in his forehead, and Thanos requires that, and ultimately he reaches a point where the Vision feels he needs to sacrifice himself and tells Scarlet Witch to kill him in order to prevent Thanos from getting the Soul Stone. And it's gut-wrenching, and it's in a highly emotional scene, beautifully acted. The acting overall in this movie was really good. And the interplay between Scarlet Witch and Vision, when the Scarlet Witch kills the man she loves, only to have Thanos use the Time Stone and reverse time and resurrect the Vision, and then pull the Soul Stone out of his head. And it was so epic and graphic and awesome. I mean, it was really, really good. I mean, Thanos is one guy who knows how to use the Infinity Gauntlet. And I'm telling you, this is a comic book lover's dream. And even if you don't love comics, you're going to love this movie. And how do I know that? It's because it's the highest grossing movie weekend opening of all time, and it's probably going to be the highest grossing movie of all time. And I don't think any Star Wars movie is going to be able to touch this thing. It's that good. There's the ending battle sequence. Number 2 on my list is the ending battle sequence at Wakanda. Man, if the movie Black Panther did a fantastic job showing us how just wondrous and incredible the country of Wakanda is, hidden in somewhere in Africa. And wow, the battle sequence there where the Black Order and their forces come to invade Wakanda, and the way that battle sequence plays out, and the way the graphic fight scenes and the choreography and the way everything's interweaved, and the way the Black Order fights, and Captain America and Black Panther and the Demore Mage of Wakanda, you know, Wakanda forever, and fighting, just absolutely amazing. The choreography here, the special effects, everything really meshes here. My favorite scene though was when Thanos throws a moon at Iron Man. You heard me right. Thanos throws a moon at Iron Man. I mean, it's incredible, and and how they pulled it off with special effects, I don't know, but it works. But he literally just squeezes his fist in and destroys the moon and hurls the moon right at Iron Man. And even Tony Stark, I mean, that line by Tony Stark where he says, he survives it and says, "You throw a moon at me one more time, I'm going to lose it," or something to that effect. Fantastic line, just absolutely epic. There's that epic battle scene where Doctor Strange looks into the future, and because Doctor Strange has the Time Stone, and he imagines something like 40-some, I don't know how many tens of millions of different scenarios, and the Avengers only defeat Thanos in one scenario, and so they got one shot and how many millions of possibilities. And we got Doctor Strange, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man and Iron Man taking on Thanos, and wow, and they almost beat him, they almost do it. But not quite. And Thanos then, after defeating them, goes to Earth, and then we get into another epic, and this is definitely an honorable mention. And it's when Thanos comes to Earth and he confronts and he gets the Soul Stone from the Vision, and then Thor attacks Thanos, but it's after Thanos has the full Infinity Gauntlet, all the Infinity Stones. And Thor, who's got his new hammer, which is awesome. Thor's new hammer, its handle is made from Groot. The wooden handle of Thor's new hammer is actually part of Groot. It's awesome. That's another scene. There's so much to talk about here. So much happens in 2.5 hours. It's absolutely epic. And the way Thor throws that hammer right through, despite having all the power of all the Infinity Gems, Thor throws his hammer through all that vast power and just pierces Thanos' chest. And it's absolutely epic, but it's too late, because as Thanos says, "You should have aimed for my head," because it was too late. Because Thanos can control all life, including his own, and Thanos snaps his fingers, and oh man, it's epic as it slowly shows half of the life in the universe random people selected all around the universe, exactly half, begin to die, to simply fade from existence. They're dead. And to see all the players that die out in this movie, all the people we've lost, and that's where it gets so gut-wrenching. I mean, you lose, Bucky dies, Black Panther is gone, Spider-Man dies in Tony Stark's arms. Gut-wrenching stuff. And to see all the Guardians of the Galaxy gone, except for Rocket Raccoon. My God, this is just gut-wrenching stuff. And you know, half of the other universe is gone too. And then, to top it off, we get that ending scene when you stay to the very end and it shows Mariah Hill and Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury. They end up in a car accident and they think they're about to be attacked, but they realize that the driver in the car that swerved in front of him disappears, is gone. They can tell that something's happening. People are disappearing, and then they begin to disappear. But just before, just Mariah Hill disappears, and then Nick Fury's disappearing, and he utters those phrases, mother, and he can't finish the four-letter language, mother, as he disappears, and he drops a distress signal. He wants to make a distress signal. He drops it on the ground, and he looks, and what does he see? What do you see? We see the Captain Marvel symbol, guys. This is epic. He's sending a distress call to Captain Marvel. Now here's the thing, we don't know Captain Marvel, right? We haven't seen a Captain Marvel movie, but that's coming out in 2019, and now things are starting to make a lot of sense, because we now know that in 2019, we know that the Captain Marvel movie takes place in the 1990s, and we can infer from what's happened here that Captain Marvel ends up at the end of the Captain Marvel movie. Brie Larson, who plays Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, must end up somewhere in the distant universe, but she must leave a distress beacon with Nick Fury to say, if you ever need me, give me a call. And that's what he's doing. And so that's how they're going to mesh up. So you can bet that in the next Avengers movie, it's going to be Captain Marvel that comes back that helps the Avengers defeat Thanos. Because in the Infinity Gauntlet comic book, remember that it was the Silver Surfer that ultimately helped remove the gauntlet from Thanos. But the Silver Surfer isn't owned by anymore, the movie rights to Silver Surfer. That's by 20th Century Fox. So they need another player instead of Silver Surfer to play that Silver Surfer role. And it looks clearly like it's going to be Captain Marvel, and that makes a lot of sense, because it will be Captain Marvel that I predict is going to be the one that ultimately removes the glove from Thanos in the next Avengers movie. That's just a guess, but either way, it's going to be epic. Guys, this is a great movie. There's some criticisms of this movie. Yes, I can criticize it a little bit. It is very fast moving. Could it be more? Could it have a little bit more explanation? Could it explain things a little better at times? It does move around. It's got a lot of moving parts. If you blink, you might miss some things. But oddly enough, that seemed to add to the charm for me. I really enjoyed it. I really fed off that, because this is a payoff. After 10 years of watching these amazing Marvel movies, everything made sense, especially if you watched them all. Now, if you're someone who's never seen these movies before, never saw any Marvel movies, frankly, I think you'd still love this movie, because there's so much action, and you can still infer what's going on. I gotta give full credit to the directors here, because they did a really good job making this movie. This really is a self-contained movie, because here's the thing, guys. Thanos wins. I mean, Donny Cates must be in heaven right now. In fact, I know he's in heaven, because reading his tweets, he's quite happy. But he just finished, of course, his Thanos run, which was called Thanos Wins. And this movie is all about Thanos winning. And Thanos wins. I mean, the end scene here with Thanos destroying half of life in the universe, and he's literally sitting back and he's smiling, looking into a sunset. Thanos wins. And that's how the movie ends. And it ends with the bad guy winning, but the universe still goes on. So it's not like he's trying to enslave the universe. Thanos just wanted to wipe half of it out. That's all he wanted to do. And that's exactly what he did do. And so it's interesting that at the end scene, they have they say Thanos will return. But Thanos doesn't have to return. Thanos already won. But, they want to get some payback for all the people that died. And those deaths aren't going to stick. So even though a lot of people were wiped out, You know that they're not going to let Spider-Man be dead for long. They're not going to let Black Panther be dead for long. I mean, my God, I mean, Black Panther. I mean, they got to make it. They got to make more money off this fantastic character, and all of Wakanda. I mean, just epic stuff. Kudos to the people that planned this movie, that put it all together. It's just one adrenaline rush. Fun movie. And this was a dark movie. It was dark, but it was fun. And it had humor in just the right places. It didn't go a little bit too over the top like Thor Ragnarok did. And Thor, God, there's guys, if you had any doubt who's the most powerful Avenger, believe me, it's Thor. Thor kicks ass in this movie. And he kicks Thanos' ass in this movie. It's just his timing was a little off in his aim. But otherwise, Thor would have won. And one final comment. Screw you, Star-Lord, because they would have beat Thanos if it wasn't for Star-Lord. His cocky, over-emotional attitude didn't exactly do any favors in this movie, but he was true to character, and so God love him anyway, right? But anyways, guys, this is a great movie. Tell me what you guys think. Thanks for watching. I'm going to be doing a video later this week, probably on some of the stuff I picked up at the Calgary Comic-Con, and some more comments. I'm behind on my reviews, but that's okay. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. And follow me on Twitter at Comic Boom, at Metropolis40. And in the meantime, guys, Comic Boom, out.